CJ Stroud was the NFL's golden boy, a rookie sensation pulling off miracle comebacks and jaw-dropping sideline lasers to make him the hottest name in town. But then came 2024. The protection crumbled, injuries piled up, and as a new crop of young QBs stole headlines, the hype around Stroud vanished. But why? Despite the chaos in Houston, CJ led the team to the playoffs twice, and somehow, he's steering them there again. This is the story of a quarterback they were too quick to count out, and why it's time to put some respect on CJ Stroud's name.
But I just want to say, let's not act like it's his fault. Think about what we're talking about here. Last year, you had Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs go down and miss a combined 17 games. Not only that, he was pressured like the third most pressured quarterback in the National Football League, finishing second with 52 sacks, only behind Caleb Williams' 68. My goodness, y'all, you don't know. Everybody knows your receivers are injured. You're under pressure, enormously so. You're sacked 52 times. You're pressured more than everybody in the NFL other than two quarterbacks. It's going to stand to reason that you're going to struggle, which is why he had a 25th rating in terms of his quarterback rating last year.
Before we delve into why Stroud is actually underrated and belongs in the conversation as one of the best quarterbacks in the league, let's take a look back at his magical rookie season, because it really was a sight to behold. CJ Stroud entered the league with a decent amount of hype, but was widely seen as the number 2 quarterback in the draft by some distance, with Alabama's Bryce Young being hailed as the sure thing in the 2023 NFL draft. After a respectable college career at Ohio State, Stroud was expected to be a future starter for a franchise, but perhaps not a superstar. Scouts identified his ability to make a wide range of throw athleticism, but were more critical of his ability to improvise and change games with his creativity, as is so common with quarterbacks in the modern NFL. He would ultimately be drafted by the Texans and was joining the franchise at a time of disarray, with 3 consecutive years without a postseason appearance. Needless to say, expectations weren't high, and some questioned whether throwing a rookie quarterback who clearly needed development into the fire would be a good idea. But when he began his first season under center, something unexpected happened. Stroud was playing at an elite level right from his first snap, and despite Houston losing their opening 2 games of the season, the young quarterback helped the Texans become competitive. Before long, they were winning games and found themselves above 500 come week 10. Stroud's play propelled the Texans to unprecedented heights. Uncharacteristically for a rookie, he made very few mistakes and threw the ball accurately, while also proving himself as a natural leader. He picked up this downtrodden franchise and with some help from new head coach D'Amico Ryans, provided some much-needed energy. One of the standout moments of his rookie year was a clutch game-winning drive against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After a back-and-forth game, the Bucs took a 4-point lead with just 46 seconds remaining on the clock. The Texans took over the ball at their own 25-yard line with just 1 timeout remaining. But Stroud calmly drove the team down the field, staying composed and completing all 4 of his passes, with the final one resulting in the game-winning touchdown to Tank Dell. In the process, Stroud set the single-game passing yard record for a rookie with 470. It was official. CJ Stroud had arrived. CJ had completely revitalized one of the worst teams in the NFL, and before the season was even over, had already locked down the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He finished the season with 4,108 passing yards and 23 touchdowns with just 5 interceptions for the year. He also set the record for most passing attempts without an interception to start a career and tied the most games with over 350 passing yards for a rookie. It's hard to think of a better season for a rookie quarterback, and it was only more impressive because he did it on a team that nobody expected to be competitive. The Texans made the playoffs as the AFC South Division winners, setting up a remarkable wildcard round win over the Cleveland Browns. Here, Stroud proved that he would not shy away under the pressure of playoff football, confirming that the Texans had indeed found a star. Unfortunately, the fairy tale run would come to an end 1 week later against the Baltimore Ravens. Still, there was plenty of reason for optimism. After just 1 year, Stroud was looking like the future, both for the Texans and the league. The standard bearer for the generation of QBs to follow Mahomes, Allen, and Jackson. After such an incredible rookie season, it's easy to see why the hype around CJ Stroud was so high. He was touted as a future MVP, And as a result, the Texans were seen as a team that would inevitably be in the conversation as Super Bowl contenders in the years to come. And when comparing Stroud's rookie season to other top quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert, Stroud stands head and shoulders above the rest. But as rapid as Stroud's stock rose, so too did his perception as one of the elite quarterbacks in the league plummet. Going into the 2024 season, hopes were high for the Texans. They had a dark horse MVP candidate under center and an offense filled with firepower in the form of Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Stephon Diggs. Things seemed to start well as the Texans powered their way to a 5-1 record. But then, the injury bug hit hard. Injuries to Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs obliterated their receiving core, and the passing game clearly struggled with this throughout the season. The offensive line was also struck by injury, playing 4 different starting combinations in 4 consecutive weeks. As you'd expect, they were unable to find any consistency when it came to pass blocking. As a result, they were about as far away from a well-oiled machine as you could imagine. And when the losses started to roll in, the temperature in the Texans fan base rose.
But
oh no, I don't like this.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is upon us.
Oh no.
Motherfucker almost pulled off the Dan Orlovsky to lose the game. Oh yeah, and Bobby Slowick, he sucks. Interior offensive line, they suck. D'Amico Ryan, kind of sucks.
Whoa.
Still like the Miko bit.
He's not there yet, but everybody else,
Yep.
I can do without, says JTB. CJ Fraud instead of CJ Stroud. Was there a lot of people saying that?
It wasn't just the injuries that were hurting the offense. The entire team was struggling to find the same level as they did in 2023. The offensive line regressed significantly, with Pro Bowler Laramie Tunsil being singled out in particular. They were just unable to provide the same quality of protection for Stroud, and as a result, Stroud was under constant pressure, making it nearly impossible for him to keep his calmness in the pocket and make the composed throws he did throughout his rookie year. In fact, Stroud was the most pressured quarterback in the league in 2024, and that was reflected in his stat line. Stroud seemed to be lacking in confidence, and it was obvious the players around him were not playing to the same level as in 2023, which of course affected Stroud's play. Between the injuries to key offensive personnel and the clear regression in the offensive line play, it was a rough situation for Stroud. But he was also making more individual errors than he did in his breakout campaign. Questions that had surrounded Stroud since his college days were reemerging, such as how his decision-making would hold up under pressure. His interceptions tally ticked up to 12, which was 7 more than the 5 from his rookie year. He also saw a decline to 3,727 passing yards and 20 touchdowns. Still, when you factor in everything that was going on around him, those numbers certainly aren't disastrous. To that point, Stroud wasn't the only one facing criticism for the lack of offensive production. Offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick also came under fire. He was the one who masterminded the 2023 offense, but was seemingly unable to find solutions to the troubles the Texans were having in 2024. Slowick would eventually be fired following the end of the season. The run game wasn't any better, ranking at the bottom of the league in rushing yards per game, piling more pressure onto the quarterback to perform. Stroud needed success in the pass game to keep the team ticking over, but there was none to be found. These factors would be enough to ensure a catastrophic season for any team. But the Texans managed to hang in there despite their stalling offense and eventually made it to the playoffs. This goes to show that even in a down year, CJ Stroud is capable of putting his team in winning positions. Obviously, the defense played its part as well. But for CJ, it says a lot about him that in his sophomore season, with chaos around him, he was still able to play well enough to get the team to the playoffs. That sounds like an elite quarterback to me. This brings us to an important point of discussion. When it comes to analyzing individual players and their statistics year to year, context matters. There are clear reasons why Stroud and the Texans took a big step backwards in their offensive production. The offensive line was a disaster, with Stroud facing constant pressure as a result. They had injuries to key players, including their top 3 receivers, preventing any kind of chemistry from forming between Stroud and his main targets. And on top of all of that, the run game was pretty much non-existent, which did not allow the Texans to establish any kind of variety in their play calling. This would usually see a team finish near the bottom of the league, but the Texans managed to continue winning enough games to still make the playoffs, and eventually beat the Chargers on Wild Card Weekend. Also, When this team was actually healthy early in 2024, Stroud played some damn good football. He was still showing the poise under center that was apparent in his rookie year, such as in this game against the Jags, where he helped the Texans come from behind to get the win, or in what was his best game of the season against a great Bills team, where he passed for 331 yards and a touchdown in a win. In 2025, the plot thickened. An 0-3 start was a bad look, but the Houston defense began to emerge as one of the best units in the country. The offense, by contrast, was abysmal, never reaching the 20-point mark in that run with a 2-3 touchdown to interception ratio for Stroud. He was able to get right in weeks 4 and 5 though, throwing 6 touchdowns to no interceptions in back-to-back wins. Stroud had a rough day out against a formidable Seahawks team in week 7, but in week 8, Houston got revenge on another NFC West powerhouse. Stroud was near flawless against the 49ers at home, completing 76% of his passes for 2 touchdowns without getting sacked once. Just as he was riding the high of that performance though, Stroud was hit late on a slide and picked up a concussion early in the second quarter of a Week 9 matchup against the Broncos. His backup, the veteran Davis Mills, went 3-1 in his stead, sparking debate around the league about whether or not Stroud's job was in jeopardy. After all, Mills threw 5 touchdowns to just 1 interception and was clearly capable of leading this team to wins. Mills did indeed play well, but the fact that there were even conversations about Stroud's status as a starter shows just how short some people's memories are. Remember, this guy delivered one of the greatest rookie seasons ever just a couple of years ago. As expected, when Stroud came back, he put any doubts to rest, with marquee victories over the Colts at home and the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Through some grueling conditions in Kansas City, Stroud ran the offense with special clutchness. He hit Nico Collins on deep balls in gotta-have-it situations, maneuvered around the pocket with comfort, and ultimately got revenge for Houston's divisional round exit back in January. One of the key things that has changed this season is a vast improvement to the O-line, and it shouldn't be a surprise that that has helped. We've seen elite quarterbacks falter behind broken offensive lines before. Now, in 2025, the Texans O-line has transitioned from abysmal to league average, and that has helped Stroud settle in massively. He's being pressured on 22.5% of his dropbacks, down nearly 6% from last year. He's also seen major stats such as completion percentage, yards per attempt, passer rating, and QB rating tick up this season. That's very solid considering how one-dimensional this offense has been with a very limited rushing attack and the injuries to Christian Kirk and Nico Collins. To suggest that CJ Stroud's best football is already behind him based on a single season of adversity is not just premature, it's lazy analysis. If anything, the 2024 campaign confirms his elite status. Stroud dragged a battered roster to the postseason and delivered a playoff win with duct tape holding parts of the offense together. That kind of poise and production under pressure is special and has extended into this season. His performances in spite of the circumstances should serve as a reminder to anyone who doubted this Texans team or their quarterback. CJ Stroud is that guy. The Texans' remaining schedule is full of winnable games, and after finding their feet following a tough start to the season, the momentum is there to keep the good play going. What should be clear is that despite a tough season in 2024 and visible regression, CJ Stroud is the same player that he always was, and he can only get better. If he finds his best form and the Texans aren't a train wreck everywhere else on offense, and the defense keeps playing at this level, they will be in the Super Bowl conversation. Pretty soon, analysts and fans alike will be wondering why they ever doubted the guy. But what do you think the future holds for CJ Stroud? Let us know in the comments.